Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Potato Butter, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of my favorite decks to play ever since I got back into the game way back in like 2015 or 2016, and that would be Blue Eyes White Dragon. Originally, my favorite deck of all time was Dragoonity, but just over the span of the years I've been back in the game, Blue Eyes have won my heart, and mainly just because their Synchro monster, Blue Eye Spirit Dragon, has become my favorite monster in the entire game, partly because of the synchro mechanics and the fact that they're kind of big, dumb dragons that hit really hard and still have a lot of combo potential. Just really, I love their playstyle. And before Link format even hit, I actually did have a bit of a Blue Eyes Dragoonity hybrid, but ultimately during Link format and now after Link format, this is ultimately the build that I've gone with. And the traditional standard toolbox variant of Blue Eyes have always been my preferred way to play the deck. Like I said, mainly because Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon is my favorite monster in the entire game, and I just like the versatility and overall like kind of raw disrupt value that the kind of standard toolbox variant has, as opposed to say the fusion or the ritual variants, which are just kind of at the end of the day putting even bigger and dumber beat sticks on the board. Although they did recently get some more support for both those variants, as Konami proceeds to neglect the obviously best way to play Kappa, the deck, with Synchros. But with that being said, I am going to go over the way that you have to play it now, which it's only a one card difference, but it does make a pretty significant difference. And that's the way that I want to play it in the future. And then afterwards, I'm going to talk about the way I want to you have to kind of play it now. But with that being said, let's just go right through the deck profile, and then I'll get into the itty gritty of it afterwards. So to start off with, you play Red Med. You're playing the Guard Dragons. It's basically more of a Guard Dragon than it is a Red Eyes at this point. It does too much. I remember before playing Red Med in a Blue Eyes or any Dragon deck was kind of a meme, but now with Guard Dragons, it's way more relevant. Triple Vanilla Blue Eyes, triple Alternative Blue Eyes, one Spirit of White, standard Blue Eyes lineup. Feel free to change up the ratio of alternative, but I like 3 because I just feel like I have summons almost always available to me. But like I said, change up as you feel. Chaos Emperor Dragon Envoy at the end. I don't like how kind of how expensive the cost is for Levianeer, with how the effect that going turn 1, the banish 3 lights, I find that tends to get rid of a lot of your resources that you could use in the later parts of the game, and you don't always have 3 darks in your graveyard to get the hand-based effect for Levianeer. So when you do the mix of light and dark, I ultimately find that you're really just spending more for what was originally could be Chaos Emperor Dragon. And on top of that, Chaos Emperor Dragon can also serve as a win con in and of itself that does force negates in like a sort of game in a really tight situation where one push can equal the game. So I personally like Chaos Emperor Dragon, but I'm sure you're going to take it out for Levianeer if you feel it's fit. One Destrudo for Link Fodder, 3 Defrag Dragon. These are my main replacements for when the mini chaoses such as Wyver Burster and Collapse Serpent got banned, and ultimately I find that the fact that this is a normal summon that can also special summon itself is really key, especially because it has 1,000 attack, and there's a little Link 1 monster that we'll get into here in a second. 3 Sage with Eyes of Blue, 3 Ancients, and 1 Legend. I know that Legend got its ratio bumped up. Personally, I find that especially now with Needle Fiber on the horizon, you only need the 1 Legend because Ancients gives you more recyclability, and Sage lets you search it out anyways, and you can just spit out Legend with Needle Fiber anyway. So having more than 1 Legend I find is kind of unnecessary, and really once you get the first one in rotation anyways, it doesn't really do much for you. 1 World Chalice Guard Dragon. This thing actually doubles as a protective hand trap as well as recursion to extend your Link, Xyz, and or Synchro plays. And 1 Veiler. You only really need the 1 because you can search out with Sage anyways. So any more than that, you're just kind of really tightening your deck space and making it, I guess, a little too cloggy. So I only play the one, but bump up if you feel like, or change it up for another hand trap. I can't control you. As for the spells, 3 Melody, again, adjust the ratio to your pleasing. I just find 3 to be nice because it guarantees you a special summon basically. 2 Trade In, you want to see your level 8s and your level 1s, but your level 8s are more dead in your hand than your level 1s tend to be, so having 2 trade-ins for dig power and slight consistency boosting is never a bad thing. 2 Dragon Shrine because it's foolish but better, and you want to see it, but you don't want to see multiples, so 2. 3 Return of the Dragon Lords, one of the best revival cards in the game. 3 World Legacy Guard Dragons, pretty much the second piece to your 2 card combos when you don't actually have multiple monsters for Needle Fiber. 1 Monster Reborn and 1 World Legacy Succession because they basically do the same thing. 1 1-for-1 and 2 Called By because you really hate hand traps. Now going into the extra deck, I play for the Synchro, Spirit Dragon, Azure Eyes, Crystal Wing, and Black Rose Moonlight. You can take Crystal Wing out for Borreload Savage Dragon. I just play Crystal Wing for personal reasons. I like it better, and there's some personal history with this card, so I like it more than Borreload Savage. But again, you can take this thing out for Borreload Savage or another extra deck monster if you want to. Hope Harbinger and Felgrand for the Xyz. I think Felgrand is a very slept on rank 8, and I think it does a whole lot that a lot of people just don't value, but I get that there are other rank 8s out there. And now that we are heading into Master Rule 2020, maybe you can take this out and other things out to find room for the Galaxy Eyes package, but personally, I think that the rest of the extra deck for me works, as well as Felgrand is still very slept on. So I play Felgrand and I just forego the Galaxy Eyes package entirely. 2-star Yuja's my favorite Link monster, and I hope it continues to dodge the ban list. 1 Borreload. I know this is a kind of an interesting pick because you can put Boral Sword here and you can put BLS, but I find that this deck does really struggle to get past monsters that have very heavy protection, that have targeting protection, and that have battle protection and or destruction protection I should clarify. And this thing actually does a really, really good job of outing things with incredible levels of protection, and it's not actually all that impossible to make either. It basically shits all over Dingirsu, so I personally really like it, and you can sort of chain block with its quick effect, which the quick effect itself doesn't do a whole lot, especially because your deck is full of 2500 3k plus beaters, but the fact that it can chain block is really major, so that's why I play it. For the Link 2s, I play Nightmare Phoenix and Crystron Needle Fiber. I should specify that before Needle Fiber's release, you will have to play Triple Burst, but once this is released and you're willing to take out a mortgage for it, hey, pick this thing up right away because it's going to help this deck a ton. Again, I don't know if Dragon Link is going to survive the ban list this year, but I hope it do. And then for the Link ones, we have Guard Dragon Pisty, Guard Dragon Elpie, and then Link Karibo and Salamangreat Almirage. You still make Link Karibo because you can make it off 1-for-1 if it's the only thing you have to work with in terms of a monster, and Almirage because you can use Defrag Dragon to make Almirage, and then go off of World Legacy Guard Dragon like you would with level 1 into Link Karibo off World Legacy Guard Dragon. And then as I said, I didn't put like a real side deck in here because I did want to showcase a couple of things and not get confused with all the intricacies with that. But as I said, for right now, we do have to play Triple Burst instead of Needle Fiber because it is how you go about your Star Yuja combos and your Guard Dragon combos. If you don't have World Legacy Guard Dragon available to you, it's a lot more resource heavy. You do need a lot more available to you, but it's what we have to work with right now. And as I said, Needle Fiber comes out here in not too long, so I think it's perfectly fine to put Needle Fiber in here just for now. And I did put a curious little Arch Nemesis in here because this thing being like a roided tribe infected virus is is something that's going to be really, really interesting to play around with in upcoming formats. The fact that this thing is searchable off of uh, Melody of the Awakening Dragon, it really gives Blue Eyes some interesting tech to play with. You know, like you could take out a Spirit of White or Emperor Dragon or Destrudo and put this thing in depending on the matchup. And in formats where there's only one monster type or decks are playing mostly only one monster type, this thing can come in and make it bang. The only thing that really hurts itself is the fact that it's level 11, so there really is very little to no level synergy there, so no rank 8 plays, but it still has a decent amount going for it in this deck. So to kind of just get into the Guard Dragon combo, including Needle Fiber, because you don't actually need World Legacy Guard Dragon to make it, it's just get a Sage with Eyes of Blue, an alternative White Dragon, and a third monster on the field. It doesn't even need to be these two specifically. Just get a tuner and a non. You can just get a tuner and two other monsters on, basically, with one preferably being a lower level dragon. This is also partly why Destrudo is just so gosh darn good, because then Needle Fiber just spits out your legend if you need to spit it out, or an ancients if you need to spit that out if you already have legend in play, and you can just kind of go from there, as you now have a Pisty under the right arrow of Needle Fiber and LP under the left. Use Pisty to summon out Red Med to bring back legend, and then use the Needle Fiber, Pisty, legend, Red Med to make Saryuja, and then do the Saryuja part, and then use Pisty to bring back Red Med to bring back legend, and then just go from there. So that's what the Needle Fiber does. And if you only have a level 1 dragon in play, like an Ancients or a Legend, and a World Legacy Guard Dragon, summon level 1 dragon, make Link Haribo, or if you have Defrag in that case, Al Mirage, and then World Legacy Guard Dragon, and bring back that same dragon, make Pisty, move it over with Guard Dragon, and then Red Med into the other low level 1. Go into Saryuja, and boom, Saryuja combo from there. So this deck really does make very good use of the Dragon Link combo, especially because of the sheer versatility of their synchros and the fact that they can also make very powerful rank 8s. I do know that with Master Rule 2020/5, I don't know what's really officially called being a thing, that you aren't, for Synchro Exceeds Infusion, you aren't restricted into making only a specific type of, or you aren't restricted to only the one in the extra monster zone. If it's not a Link monster, then you're screwed. But I still do think that there is a lot of value to be had with running Link monsters, because there's so much consistency in them. And besides, putting them under Saryuja, they get a stat boost as opposed to none if they aren't. So I still think that even with Master Rule 2020, you still want to run this lineup of Link monsters. That's just me, but again, feel free to change up as you feel like. I am gonna get some duels recorded, and by next weekend, I should specify, hopefully I can get some duels recorded for the current version with Triple Burst, and then some with Needle Fiber in there, and then hopefully after that, some in Master Rule 2020, which is probably going to look a lot like with just Needle Fiber in play anyways. So, hope you guys enjoyed this deck list. I'm going to get started on those duels right away. My last deck list received a lot of views and positive feedback, so maybe I can kind of turn this into a monthly series where I post a deck list once per month, and then also then show duels from that deck and showcasing what it can do and possible futures for that. So hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. I'm going to get cracking on those duels right away. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Give me some criticism. Tell me what I can improve on. I know I could probably make like an official script instead of just kind of winging it and just making stuff up as I go along. And obviously I don't have the most professional setup, as I'm not really dedicated to this YouTube career, as you could probably call it. But as I said, leave a like if you enjoyed it, leave some criticism please, and subscribe for more. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.